Hey, folks, it's Mark Arum. I hope you're enjoying the Mark Arum Show podcast. A reminder, you can hear this very radio show live Monday through Friday. We're live 6 to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
And the winner is... we still don't know. Hey, guys, Mark Arum in with a very special edition of Atlanta's Evening News on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. With you for the next 2 hours, complete election coverage as of now in Georgia. Former Vice President Biden holds a 1,500-vote lead over President Trump with 4,000 votes to be counted and as many as 8,400 military ballots that could be counted today if they arrive. We'll keep you updated on the situation. We'll tell you what's going on in Arizona, in Pennsylvania, in Nevada. But as of now, it's still 253 to 213 for the Electoral College. But if that changes, you'll hear about it first here on your election headquarters. We're going to have some fun today, though, as we await the election results. And the last couple of days, I've been talking about Longoria, how crazy it was Tuesday. So I've got a lot of friends that are gamblers. They do the online gambling. And usually they do, football, basketball, baseball, but they've been getting in the political gambling. And Joe Biden heading into election night was a really big favorite. And then at like 9:30 p.m., the script was flipped, and President Trump became the huge favorite. And now that's flipped again. And I'm just so curious about the betting markets when it comes to political races. Joining us from the Action Network, formerly of ESPN, our buddy Darren Rovell. Darren, thanks for joining us, bud.
Thanks for having me.
How crazy was that Tuesday night? I've never seen lines move like that.
So we kind of had, since March, started to do the reporting on the political betting, taking implied odds and basically showing you in the moment at least what the sentiment was for someone to, think about who's going to win presidency. We did it with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, VP candidates. And it got a tremendous amount of hits for us, but we never anticipated that on Tuesday night we would have more hits to our website than the Super Bowl as a sports betting website, but that's what happened. Essentially, it is not the betting markets. I think what happened really was that people had been watching their news networks and, after 11:30, when the commentator says, hey, we're still in the first inning, obviously people want some movement and they want to figure things out and they want to think that this is coming to an end. Of course, we now know it wasn't even close. But I think there was some want to see how things were moving. And you're right, around 9:15, for some reason, after Florida went, I think what happened was that there was just the sentiment that this whole thing that happened in 2016 was going to happen again. We knew that pollsters were kind of on the edge of not being relevant. And the biggest people, I had a guy who I'd been following, who I'd been looking for insight, a political analyst out of Europe named Paul Krishnamurthy. He was so sure Biden. And then he called me and said, I just sold half my interest because I just need to take some money off the table. And I think our reporting of the fact that Trump had flipped from 36% earlier in the day to 71% at 9:30 after Florida, I think got a lot of people nervous.
Darren Rovell from the Action Network joining us on the Mark Arum Show. You might not know this. This might not even be a public data available, but do we know how much was wagered worldwide on the United States presidential election?
We don't know, but what we do know is Betfair, which takes the most money, on their exchange alone, which is basically, it's like peer-to-peer betting, but they hold the money, they release the money, and they get a percentage. They're probably going to end up at around $675 million in their one sports book.
Wow.
So it's not legal in the U.S., but had it been, we would be talking about at least a $3 billion, maybe a $5 billion market.
Darren Rovell joining us on Atlanta's Evening News on 95.5 WSB. Darren, I'm not unfamiliar with gambling. I certainly have placed my wagers in the past. I really don't do it anymore, but I have dabbled in the online betting. And let's just say, hypothetically, I bet on the Braves to beat the Dodgers in the National League Division Series. After Game 7, I know there's a winner and a loser, right? The Dodgers won, the Braves lost, I lose my money. What's going on in the gambling world when it comes to this there's no winner yet. What are the gambling houses or the bettors doing with the money that has been wagered on the presidential race?
Well, there are different rules, and to be honest with you, Betfair would not tell me when they would call the race. In other words, they clearly, with $650 million in their kitty, have some sort of rule as to how they're going to determine how the race is called and betting is done and lock it up. Maybe it's AP. Maybe it's a combination of networks. Whatever it is, they have not told me what that is. But I will tell you that I expect there to be a call, and whoever initially wins is going to be the winner. That is how it works in sports books across the world, right? Like, even if a game is protested, it's basically action is concluded, pretty much at the end of the day. And if it flip-flops, the bettors know that they don't really have a chance to get their money back. That's what it's going to be here. If it is called, in fact, for Biden, the Biden money I would expect to be released. And if Trump mounts some sort of legal defense that then makes him the president again, I don't think the Trump people would win.
So, but once it's paid, like if Biden is declared president or president-elect and the money gets paid out, and then through whatever legal means that gets reversed, I mean, you can't get the money back, right? I mean, once it's paid, it's paid.
No, that's why they do what they do. I mean, that's how it works. That once it's gone, it's gone. And that's why I think they will also want to be extra careful about calling it and feeling like when they call it, it's a fair call.
I can't believe, because I know personally some people that bet the dip, the Biden dip when he went for, and they put a lot of money on that, and they're very happy right now. But they've not received their money. Like they're waiting. They're not even political junkies. They're bettors, and they're like, all right, call this thing already. I'm going to get 5 figures on this win. Hurry up and make this call. Do the betting circles have any idea when a call might be made on the race?
Again, I would no. I mean, they're not saying, they're not leading. In other words, they're not. I think that's what people kind of got confused with, Mark. I mean, we weren't talking about the betting market being indicative of what was going to happen in the states. It's just pretty much the mood. But I will tell you that I feel that they'll be fairly conservative on making the call.
Excellent. Darren Rovell, great info. I'm just fascinated by this whole thing. But for full disclosure, I did not bet on the presidential race, folks. I'd be really heated right now if I didn't. You can follow Darren on Twitter. He's a must-follow, at Darren Rovell. Action Network HQ is his outfit. Good stuff, as always, Darren. I really appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks, Mark.
There you go. Darren Rovell. I know a guy, a friend of a friend, Longoria, that is gonna win if Biden is, and he is a Republican, like he's conservative. But if Biden wins the presidency, he gets $60,000.
Wow!
And he hasn't slept in 4 days, since Tuesday.
Yeah, I'll be waiting every night.
He's like biting his nail. He's got like 3 TVs set up. He sent me. He doesn't live in Atlanta. He lives in Vegas, obviously, and he's got like 3 TVs set up in his living room. One with CNN on. One with like Bloomberg, one with Fox News, and he's just like, because that's a big payday.
Yeah.
And like, he doesn't want Biden to win. Like, he's a Trump guy. He makes a lot of money. He doesn't want his taxes raised. But he's like, how it's $60,000. Like, I want to win this. It's unbelievable. So I just thought that was an interesting story that I want to dive in, and not as really hardcore as everyone's on edge right now.
Yes.
So I wanted to, but I don't bet sports anymore. I quit, I don't know, 20 years ago.
Really?
You can't beat the house, man.
No.
You can never beat the house. There's a reason why bookies they do well. These online gaming places, the casinos, you can't win. Let me put it this way: I can't win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So nobody can.
Well, no. Some people I'm sure can, but this guy could not win. So it's Mark Arum for Eric Erickson with you till 6. Eric's dad, I believe, celebrating a birthday, and I'm going to be with you on Monday from 4 to 6. So here's what we know. We're going to cover the election. No change from this morning, this afternoon. If you're just getting in the car driving home, the electoral map is the same. Vice President Biden, 253 electoral votes. President Trump, 213. The current states that are out there, the key race alert, if you will. Georgia, Vice President Biden up by 1,500 some odd votes. In Pennsylvania, Biden up by 14,700 votes. In Nevada, Vice President Biden up 20,000 votes. And in Arizona, Vice President Biden up 39,000 votes. That number has been shrinking. The others kind of have been climbing. We don't know yet if and when there will be a call made. Right? I mean, we're waiting for that. We do know that Vice President Biden, former Vice President Biden, is scheduled to make a primetime address at some point tonight. We're thinking, Jamie Dupree's thinking around 8 p.m. When he does that, we'll bring it to you live right here on WSB. But there's no winner yet. So that's where we are. There is no winner yet. But there are other things to talk about in regards to the race, and we'll get with WSB political analyst Bill Crane. Veronica Waters, our reporter, is out covering what seems to be a Purdue Ossoff runoff, and we'll talk to her as well. And it wouldn't be a Mark Arum show without you folks. Love you. Even on the early edition of the Mark Arum show. I love you Erickson listeners. You're very intelligent. The Erickson listenership, very intelligent. I'm not pandering. 404-872-0750. 1-800-WSB-TALK on Twitter and Instagram at Mark Arum. It's Atlanta's Evening News on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. $426.72 degrees on Peachtree Street, a 7.5 on the Mark Arum Show back sweat meters. A little hotter than I thought it would be today. Again, we have no winner. Mark Arum for Eric Erickson on Atlanta's Evening News. If anyone calls the election, we will let you know. First, Vice President Biden, former Vice President Biden, scheduled to hold a press conference, we think around 8 p.m. You'll hear live here on 95.5 WSB. Al joins us in Atlanta. Al, welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Excellent. What's on your mind, brother?
I got a great bookie story for you. A friend of mine and I used to go to Capus, Costa Rica every year for sail fishing.
Oh, love it.
And I knew he was a bookie, but I didn't know the extent. And once we flew into San Jose, we took a cab to a building surrounded by concertina wire and guys with Uzis. And they escorted us in to a big room with a glass window with 300 people behind computers laying book.
Wow. Yeah, that's Costa Rica. I don't know if it still was, but that was like the hotspot for online gaming was Costa Rica.
And he took me in there as a bodyguard, and I have not been back since. And I want you to tell Chuck that we went skinny dipping last night in Tally Lake on Whitefish. He'll know exactly where it is.
I will tell him. Oh, so I enjoyed Costa Rica. I didn't go to the I went to the beach. The best part
You did the fishing,
I did
though.
the fishing. But the monkeys everywhere was the greatest thing of Costa Rica. Like squirrels here, monkeys there. It's crazy.
Are they aggressive, though? Like, do
No.
they come up to you, or
No.
are they just wildlife?
They're
Do
just
they bug you?
No.
Okay.
Give you money?
No.
Nothing?
They're kind of anti-Semitic. So they're like, they were like, leave the Jewish guy alone. Rick is in Stockbridge. Rick, welcome to the program. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, Mark, I need some help. I've got a $10,000 bet that I need to make out in Vegas, and I need the over-under for when Biden wins. Right now, it's over-under, and the over is 9-3 on the date that Kamala Harris is going.
All right. I didn't like where that was going. I didn't know where
It sounded weird.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Longoria cut you off there. Longoria didn't like
Fat fingers.
The Longoria didn't like where that was going. JT's in Gainesville. JT, welcome to the Mark Arum Show.
How's it going, Big E?
Happy Friday, brother.
Happy Friday. I just got through with the burrito, and I'm going to tell you what, this thing was awesome. I got to taste all portions of that burrito, and I'm going to tell you what, I don't think I'm going to eat supper.
That's fine. I'm having pho tonight, Longoria. Asian noodle soup. I'm very excited about that. Yeah.
Have you ever had
That
it?
actually sounds good.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. Real quick, JT, what you got in the election?
Well, I don't know if my thing is if Biden wins, how long will it be before he throws it under the bus? That's all.
Like, how long will he stay president?
Yeah, because
2 years.
Nancy Pelosi pushed out that Article 25. When Trump got the
sure.
I'm wondering if that was kind of a flash to let everybody know.
I have no inside knowledge. Just my guess. He gets the Democrats. I mean, if he becomes president, he'll be president for 2 years, gets them through the midterms, and then steps aside. And then it's President Harris. That's just my guess. 2 years, gets the Dems through the midterms, and then is like, peace out. I'm going to Costa Rica with the monkeys. We'll come back with Bill Crane, WSB legal analyst, political analyst, very latest on the election. Mark Ehrman for Eric Erickson on WSB.
Hey there, this is Patrick Warburton, and you are listening to the Mark Arum Show. Who, by the way, stole my Jesus fish.
438, 22 in front of 5. Mark Arum and the Bananas filling in for the conservative Viking Eric Erickson. I'm sure when he scheduled this day off, Deborah, that he was like, oh, the election will be over. I can,
Oh, yeah, he's like, it's the Friday. It should be fine. We'll just have a nice weekend.
I'll take a 4-day weekend. It'll be fantastic.
Constantly on Twitter the entire weekend.
Yeah, exactly. So thanks for Eric for letting us fill in. Word on the street with Shelley and Milani going to fill in for me 6 to 8. You can normally hear the Mark Arum Show 6 to 8 p.m. on 95.5 WSB. Listen at home if your drive is over at that point with the WSB radio app or Amazon Alexa or Google Home. Just say play 95.5 WSB. No change if you're just getting off work, getting in the car. The electoral count, the same as it was this morning on Atlanta's Morning News with Scott Slade, a man who has had anywhere between 6 and 8 hours of sleep since Tuesday. WSB political analyst Bill Crane joins us on the show. How are you, Bill?
I am well, Mark, and I do need to let you know that since we spoke earlier, our friends upstairs have booked me for 4:45, so I can go up until 4:44 and then come back. But that has happened. They're in my office. I'm
Understood.
Here
Understood. That means you got to put on some pants and a button-down shirt for Channel 2.
Thank you for thinking of me that way.
Before you got a jet and do the TV, where do we stand here in the state of Georgia, and what are you hearing, Bill?
The margin has not changed much in the last several hours. The vice president leads by about 1,500 votes. What is still left out are absentee ballots in about 7 counties that have not yet been tabulated. Provisional ballots, which can't really be dealt with until Friday, which is today, the deadline for voters who showed up on Election Day who didn't have their ID or couldn't prove they were a citizen, couldn't prove they were the age of majority. They have 3 business days until the close of business today to produce that information. There were 9,000 of those cast. Depending on how many of them showed up, those ballots will be determined to be legal or illegal, and they'll be tabulated. And then there's about 8,000 overseas military ballots that were sent out that haven't been received yet, that have until today, close of business, to be received, to be tabulated. So you've got kind of three batches of votes: untabulated absentees, mail-in votes, untabulated provisionals that they have to determine which can be counted and which can't, and overseas military. When all is said and done, I don't expect, based on where those votes are coming from, with the exception of overseas military, a significant number of those votes to go for the president. He could clean up on those military votes if they all come in. That's the best chance he's got to get back in the lead in Georgia. Otherwise, there will be a statewide recount because the margin is so small. But otherwise, the 16 electoral votes in Georgia would likely go to Vice President Biden.
WSB political analyst Bill Crane joining us on the Mark Arum Show. 8,400 outstanding military ballots we heard from the folks earlier in the press conference that have to be in by today. I just can't fathom that the military ballots would all come in today, though, right? I mean, this is the last day that it can be accepted.
That's correct.
A lot of Republicans are holding out hope that they're going to see a huge red wave of votes from the military, but those military votes should have been in already, right? I mean, this is kind of a Hail Mary.
According to the Secretary of State's press conference, another 18,000 overseas military votes have already been tabulated, have already been received, and have already been counted in the system. There are 8,000 more remaining, meaning a total of like 25,000 were sent overseas military, but they have to come back. And so today's mail drop, which the last of those will be at 5 p.m. In about 15 minutes, it has to be in today's mail. Now, being candid with you on a Friday afternoon, I would not be surprised if some of those county election offices haven't shut down for the day, but as long as they're postmarked and received in their mail batch on Friday, they'll be tabulated on Monday.
Just seems like a big long shot to hold out hope that there's going to be a lot of those 8,400.
Well, to be candid with you, having watched multiple elections back to the 1980s, I can only think of one or two times overseas military ballots mattered as it relates to the outcome of an election. And they're counted, but they typically are counted last because they are received last. It's almost never a situation in a statewide race. You know, I've been involved in 2 statewide recounts, and the margin was greater than what we're talking about now with 5 million votes cast. And in those cases, one was a 1 million votes cast and the other was 2 million. In both of those cases, the margin was about 2,500 and 3,500 votes, 1 vote per precinct, basically. This is a smaller margin with 5 million votes cast.
Bill Crane, go do your TV, buddy. We got to check traffic.
All right. Do you want me to check back in? Or
I would love, call me back. Absolutely.
I will do. Bye.
All right, thanks. Bill Crane. Let me go to CNN real quick. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms on right now.
A candidate can request one, though, after certification if the margin is 0.5% or less. Now, obviously, currently it is. But we've got more votes to come in. How confident are you that a recount can be avoided? And to be clear, the Trump campaign has already said that they want a recount, right? They're going to push one. Do you think it can be avoided or not?
And also my understanding that Senator Kelly Loeffler is going to help fund that recount in Georgia, which is interesting given where she is in the runoff. But I'm confident that a recount will show that Joe Biden has taken Georgia. And also, if it gives people the confidence that they need in the integrity of this election, I think that we should have a recount. But it's going to be a close one, but we are blue.
So Senator Kamala Harris obviously already has made history as the first Black and Asian woman to, be on the vice presidential ticket, to be on the receive the nomination. If these numbers hold, if they do nationally, she will be the next vice president. If they hold in Georgia, she could very well be. It's a crucial part of the puzzle here. Can you take a moment to reflect on that and what that means to you?
This is an historical election, and to have Senator Harris join the ticket and for us to be a part of changing the history of this country, I think really speaks to the legacy of John Lewis and Joseph Lowery and Dr. C.T. Vivian, all 3 great giants who we lost this year in our state. It's a great year, and this really is the most important election of my lifetime and so many others, and to have Kamala Harris be a part of this historic moment makes it even more special. All
right, there's Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms on CNN. She's, I think we're all, no matter who wins, there's going to be a recount, right? These are razor-thin margins, so there's going to be a recount either way. Charles is up next on the Mark Arum Show. Hey, Charles, what's going on, buddy?
Yo, what's up, Mark and Mark? I've talked to you many times, man.
Welcome back.
I was going to ask you, you ever tried monkey meat, man?
No, I don't eat the funkiness. No.
Hey, I was in the Philippines. I had some monkey meat on a stick. Put a little hot sauce on it. It's good.
Really? So. No. See, I won't do monkey meat. Like, you know why? Well, for a number of reasons. But you remember Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? Do you remember that movie? When they went to Pankot Palace and they had that. They had the chilled monkey brains.
Oh, that took me forever to watch as a kid.
Forget about it. And the eyeball soup. I'm pretty adventurous. I'll eat some weird sushi. I'll eat some weird stuff that Longoria brings in. But no, I'm not going to touch that. No. But good for you. Good for you. Thank you for calling, Charles. I'm not doing dog either. Like that. That's got to stop. I think China is putting an end to that finally.
I think they made some new laws about it anyway, yeah.
Because after the wet market thing with the COVID, and people, they did an expose and they went in there and saw, and it's like, I'm a dog lover. I know we eat things here, like we eat cows, which are sacred in India. We can get Sanjay to talk about that. Yeah. So I understand. It's culturally, I get it. But dogs, you can't.
Do they now have pet dogs in China?
I think they do.
That'd be the weird thing to me.
I think everyone in the world has pet dogs. Anyway, back to. Let's get off the. I just killed everyone's appetite driving home right now. I'm gonna make your appetite come back. The fried turkey sandwich is available at Arby's.
Have you tried it yet?
No, because we've had Mai cooked so much pasta, and then Ashley Frasca brought me in a chicken parm sub yesterday. So I haven't had a chance to. I'm gonna have like 4 tomorrow.
Yeah, you should.
It is my favorite.
Have one for me.
People think this is a commercial. This isn't Erickson talking about Omaha Steaks. This is a non-paid endorsement of my favorite. And this is a bold statement because I eat a lot of fast food. My favorite fast food sandwich.
That is bold. Is
the fried turkey sandwich at Arby's. Available for a limited time. It's so good.
Instagram Live that.
Oh. I don't know. It'll be too messy. It'll be too weird, too. I enjoy it too much. I enjoy Bill Crane. We're going to get him back after the break and more of your calls. Still to come, we've got Greg Bluestein, we've got Veronica Waters, and other assorted luminaries to discuss campaign 2020, election 2020. 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK, on Twitter and Instagram at Mark Arum. In for Eric Erickson on Atlanta's Evening News. Mark Arum for Eric Erickson. Back to the Crane estate. WSB political analyst Bill Crane. Bill, we were talking about the possibility or likelihood of a recount here in the state of Georgia. Let's play the hypothetical game. Pennsylvania goes to Vice President Biden, Nevada, Arizona. Would they still go through the recount here in Georgia if the Electoral College number was that high?
Yes, with Georgia law allows for any statewide contest separated by less than half a percentage point of the vote for either candidate in that case to request the recount. There's no cost to the campaigns. And this would also be an opportunity, because they're going to do a smaller audit anyway, to test the reliability of all of these paper ballot receipts, which they now have based on this new system. So we're going to have a recount. It takes time because basically all of the counties have to redo what they've just done with scanning all those paper ballots all over again. So you can kind of look for a slightly collapsed version in terms of the number of days, but it would be another 3 to 5 day process to retabulate at the precinct level in the county courthouses all of the results in 159 county courthouses, certify that information locally, send it up to the Secretary of State's office, they recheck that, and then they certify it. Then you would have a statewide recount completed. I've done 2 or been involved in campaigns that have done it twice, one with a margin of 2,500 votes, one with a margin of about 3,600 votes. And in both cases, we only had a couple hundred votes shift columns, so it did not change the outcome.
Bill, the former Vice President Biden is going to address the nation tonight in prime time. If there is no winner declared, what's he going to say? Do you know what's going on?
My guesstimation, based on the raising anxiety levels among supporters on both sides and protests starting to kind of spontaneously break out in multiple cities, mostly peaceful at this point, is he will thank the 70-plus million Americans who vote for him. He will call out some states and some wins by the Democrats. They did have some, not as many as they were certainly expecting. And then he will basically follow up on what he did yesterday, which is ask folks to let the process play out, let all of the legal ballots be tabulated, and to remain calm, that they believe and they're comfortable and confident that eventually they will win the majority of the electoral votes. They will win the Electoral College December the 14th. He and Kamala Harris will be the next president and vice president of the United States, and that, calling for stopping the votes or getting out in the street and protesting doesn't help that and could cause other problems.
Final question for you, Bill. Speaking of runoffs, is it confirmed that we will have 2 senatorial runoffs here in Georgia, or are we still waiting on that second?
The results that haven't been finalized yet in the Senate race between incumbent David Perdue and John Ossoff at this point would indicate, with both of them below 50% because of the Libertarian candidate's presence as well, that there will be a second runoff. But those results are still being tabulated just as they are in the case of the presidential race.
98,000 votes separates Perdue and Ossoff, 49.84% versus 47.85%. The spoiler, Shane Hazel, 2.32%. Bill, thanks for the double dip. Have a great weekend. Get some sleep, brother.
Take care.
There you go. WSB political analyst William Quincy Crane. I made up that middle name. I have no idea what Bill Crane's middle name is. My middle name is Robert, in case you were wondering, Longoria. Yours is Andrew.
It is.
Is Andrew. And we don't know Deborah's. Maybe we'll find out.
I do not have one.
Oh, I was going to tease it. We're going to give for one after news, weather, and traffic. Plus, we are going to talk to Leonard Steinhorn from CBS about the election here in Georgia and nationwide. And, of course, your calls. 404-872-0750. Arum in for Erickson on Atlanta's Evening News.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Lift liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome back to the show. Mark Arum here. You there. 5:09, 9 minutes after 5. Very special edition of Atlanta's Evening News with you till 6 in the p.m. Election 2020 coverage continues on 95.5 WSB. You just heard the update from Chris Chandler. A new vote total in from the Secretary of State's office, and former Vice President Biden now has a 4,200-plus vote lead over President Trump here in Georgia. We will update the data for you throughout the evening and the overnights, and as soon as if a call is made in this election, we will bring it to you live. Joining us live is CBS political consultant Leonard Steinhorn. Leonard, thanks for joining us. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
You've been a political consultant for a long time. Have you ever witnessed anything like what we're seeing right now, my friend?
Well, you do have to dial back to 2020. I'm sorry, the year 2000, Bush v. Gore.
Yeah.
That was quite an experience. Of course, all eyes were on Florida, whereas right now all eyes are on Georgia, and all eyes are on Pennsylvania and Nevada and Arizona and possibly North Carolina, but I doubt that. But the bottom line is this. We've never had an election close to anything like this because of COVID. Because of COVID, people were uncertain about voting on Election Day, going to the polls, potentially jeopardizing their health. So millions of people used the opportunity available to them to vote by mail. And because of that, and because some states have laws in the books that don't allow counting until the day of Election Day, like Pennsylvania, you are seeing all of these votes trickle in day after day after day. And it's a close election. It's a tight election. Even though Joe Biden now has more than a 4 million vote lead nationwide, because we have this electoral college the way we do, then basically it's up to particular states to report their votes and to tell us who wins those states, because otherwise we would be saying if we had a national popular vote, it's President-elect Joe Biden, no question about it. He has too big a lead for anybody to overcome it.
CBS political consultant Leonard Steinhorn joining us on the Mark Arum Show. Do you expect, Leonard, that there will be an official call of this race at some point today?
Well, it looks as if that's the case. I mean, trust me, I've been going into the numbers ever since the wee hours of the morning on election night, and this is what I predicted would happen. I had actually weeks ago said that Georgia may be going blue this year in the presidential race, because you go look at the demographics, the voting behavior, the patterns, the history, and all the rest, and that seems to be replicated in what the actual numbers are, that certain parts of the state were turning out in high numbers, and those votes are just coming in late. But when you look at what parts of each of these states hasn't reported yet, you could have seen even on Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, that this election would move in Joe Biden's direction. So what happened election night, as the social scientists are increasingly saying, was a red mirage, because the votes that were cast on Election Day were for people who were supportive of President Trump, because he urged people to go out and vote on Election Day, and those ballots were counted immediately, okay? It's the mail-ins that take time. You've got to open the envelopes. You've got to flatten the votes to make sure they can be fed into a machine. You have to check signatures or IDs if a particular state requires them. That takes time, it takes attention, it takes care. But because a lot of votes were not being reported in certain parts of certain states, you could see the patterns of a Joe Biden victory emerging even as early as election night.
Final question for you, Leonard. Most important question. I graduated Marist College. You, Vassar. Your favorite restaurant in Poughkeepsie, New York?
Oh, boy, I go all the way back, so I can barely even remember the restaurants. And, I was a student. I had no money. I didn't have a car. So, I just probably hung out at Frivolous Sal's Pub on Raymond Avenue up there and enjoyed the beer and the roast beef sandwiches, back all the way back then. But great area, that sort of mid-Hudson area. That's
Love the Hudson Valley. Love it.
Yeah.
Leonard, I appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me. We'll talk again.
All right, there's Leonard Steinhort, CBS political consultant from the Secretary of State office, former Vice President Biden, now with a 4,235 vote lead over President Trump here in Georgia. Cynthia joins us in Decatur. Cynthia, welcome to the Mark Arum Show.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
It's Friday. It's a payday Friday. Shelly brought in donuts. I mean, I am seriously couldn't be happier right now.
It's like a number 10 for you.
Exactly.
I'm just going to throw this out. How about Trump in 2024?
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. I'm glad you brought that up because I meant to talk about that last night. If, and again, we don't know anything yet. We don't know what's going to happen. It's short. Right. It's looking like it's trending toward a Biden victory. And if that happens, 100% I'm with you, Cynthia, because President Trump, even if he's not the president, is still a massive figure and the premier figure of the Republican Party. So I could definitely see him running again in 2024.
Yeah, and I can see him winning with a landslide.
Maybe, but here's I mean, I'm not going to throw water on it because I thought about that yesterday. I just, if President Trump gets back to his old lifestyle, right, like weekends at Mar-a-Lago and just relaxing and not having to worry about anything, will he have the energy to get off the couch and do it again? That's the only thing that I would hesitate to call that for.
Yeah, but he doesn't like to lose.
Yes, you're 100% right about that.
And I can see him going for it.
You know what? I'm going to get that gambling expert back on, Cynthia, and maybe you could place a bet right now on President Trump winning the 20. I'm glad she's mentioned that. I almost brought that up yesterday. I could totally see that happening if he loses now, gearing up. He's going to be a major force somehow, right? He's still going to be tweeting. He still has that brand. He still has that base. He'll be a factor somehow over the next 4 years. Jerry is in Kennesaw. Jerry, welcome to the show.
Thank you very kindly. Sir, my question is more academic than anything else, but I remember when President Nixon advocated his office and President Gerald Ford, who was the Speaker of the House, ended up becoming the President of the United States. That being said, now, should Joe Biden and Kamala Harris end up being elected, I've heard many people say that the Democratic National Party won't let him stay in there longer than about 3 months because the guy's becoming decrepit. That being the case, then she will move up to the president's position, and then would that mean then that Nancy Pelosi would then be the vice president?
No. So that's the line of succession. Like, God forbid something happens to the president and the vice president, then Nancy Pelosi moves up and becomes president. But they would pick another one. But here's what's interesting. If this election isn't decided by the end of by Inauguration Day, right, and it's still in flux, there's a chance that Nancy Pelosi becomes president. Deborah just rolled her eyes. Yes. That's the way the Constitution is written, that the Speaker of the House, if no president has been decided, as far as my research has shown, I'm 98% sure, I'm B98.5% sure that is true, that if there's no finalization of the election, then Nancy Pelosi becomes president. Deborah's going to fact check me during the break. We'll come back. Greg Bluestein from the AJC is going to join us, and your calls, 404-872-0750, back after this. Come on. Quick in-show fact check. Deborah Green, executive producer of the Mark Arum Show. I said if the election wasn't finalized by Inauguration Day, then Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, becomes president. Was I right or wrong?
It says most likely. If there's no clear winner, then the House of Representatives and the Senate each pick.
Okay.
So most likely they're saying it would be Nancy Pelosi. So yeah, you're sort of right.
There you go. Yeah. I wanted you to fact check me before I get Greg Bluestein on from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. The only man that gets less sleep than me these days. Greg, how you holding up, buddy?
I'm running on fumes. I think I've gotten 2 or 3 hours this whole week, it seems like. It's been a fun one.
You've been crushing it, man. Crushing it. Very proud of you. The whole world is focused on Georgia, this election, and you've been giving us great updates. Latest update, Georgia, Vice President Biden, the former vice president, now up over 4,200 votes in Georgia. What's the scuttlebutt? What are you hearing from your sources? I'm assuming this thing's going to go to a recount eventually, right?
It will, yeah. Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger said it's almost definitely going to recount, and why not, right? If it's this close, it's kind of due diligence if you're on the losing end to ask for a recount. I expect the margin to continue to grow. We're looking at we got to 4,200 votes just now because of Gwinnett County votes that came in that gave Joe Biden another 2,000 or so vote cushion, and we're going to soon get some more votes for Fulton County, which of course is another Democratic stronghold. So that margin will continue to grow, and there's still some provisionals and some military overseas ballots, and then there's going to be a lot of I think just a lot of like diving into this one vote here, two votes there, going into some provisionals, and then the recount might alter the final count a little bit. But we'll see.
Even after a declared winner in the presidential race is announced, the political focus is going to stay on Georgia. Most likely, we're going to have two runoffs in the Senate, which is going to be bananas. Republicans and Democrats getting their ducks in a row for what's going to be a really, really vicious campaign.
You're exactly right. It is going to be a grueling 9-week runoff for if Joe Biden ends up as president for control of the Senate, and so a monumental battle. It's kind of the doomsday scenario for Georgians because after $200 million in TV ads worth of TV and radio ads was spent earlier this year, I think we could probably double that over the next 2 months. Reverend Warnock, the Democratic candidate against Kelly Loeffler, has already unleashed his first ad. He unleashed it just 2 days after the election. So it's just this taste of things to come and the national attention we'll be getting.
He does not like puppies, according to the. I thought it was a pretty good ad. Like he dodged a lot of bullets through, in the election because it was Loeffler versus Collins. They were just throwing bombs at each other, and they kind of left him alone. And now the laser focus of the conservatives will be on Reverend Warnock.
You're exactly right. And what they'll do is, and you've seen a little bit of it, but he has lots and lots of sermons that were videotaped over decades, right? And so what they've done is that sort of to mine those for incendiary things that could be controversial to conservatives, whether they be about law enforcement or, whatever, political statements, whatever they might be. And so you're going to start seeing them kind of up the attacks on him for those remarks.
Don't go to sleep yet, Greg. I know you're not gonna. If you hear anything big, shoot me a text and we'll get it on the air, buddy.
You got it.
All
Thanks,
right,
man.
There you go. The wounded warrior that is Greg Bluestein. No sleep from my man, but you're doing a great job, Greg. He is on Twitter at Bluestein. You know who's also doing a great job? I know you don't think so, Deborah Green, but Chris Chandler. He has just been knocking it out of the park. I'm kidding. We all love you, Chris Chandler. He's got your news, weather, and traffic next. When we come back, Veronica Waters on the Ossoff-Purdue race that we're gearing up for, and more of your calls, 404-872-0750.
Hey, this is Lois Griffin, and you are listening to The Mark Arum Show.
538, 67 degrees on Peachtree Street. Mark Arum and the Banana is at your beck and call till 6 in the p.m. Normally, you can hear the Mark Arum Show 6 to 8 p.m. here Monday through Friday on WSB, but we're filling in for the conservative Viking Eric Erickson tonight and Monday from 4 to 6, but normally you can hear us 6 to 8. Shelley Winter, Milani Kai, Word on the Street is covering my shift tonight. I think they're staying on late, Deborah Green. I think they're going to stay on 6 to 9 because we're expecting to hear from Vice President Biden at 8, so they'll be carrying that live, and it's a fun show. So stick around for that. We're having fun on a Friday, even though we don't have a president-elect yet. The electoral map is the same as it was this morning: 253 for former Vice President Biden and 213 for for President Trump. The 4 states in contention right now. Here's the vote leads for the former Vice President: in Georgia, over 4,100; in Pennsylvania, 14,500; in Nevada, just over 20,000; and in Arizona, just under 40,000. That lead is shrinking in Arizona. I believe the others are all growing. We'll get to Veronica Waters in just a second. Charles joins us on Atlanta's Evening News. How are you, Charles?
How you doing?
Excellent. What's up?
Look here, I don't think Trump's going to run for nothing in the next 4 years. He'll be 82 years old. And, 70 million people don't like the man.
I think it'll be. I don't know about. I think he's. How old is he now? He's 74 now. I think he'll be old. He'll be Biden's age. I think in 4 years.
But look here.
Yeah.
Biden was about to die and still beat him. So what that is?
I don't know. Well, here's the thing. If I had his money, I wouldn't have run in the first place. I don't understand that.
Yeah. You're king. I mean, like he was king before he would be president. You know what I'm saying? Because he had so much money.
Such a great life before that.
Hey, you could do whatever you wanted.
Now the rumor is he ran not expecting to win, just to boost his brand up and cash in on that, which is a smart business move. And lo and behold, he won.
You think he was like just a little disappointed when he won? Like, oh God.
Yeah, probably. I don't know about disappointed, but now he wants to. Now that he won, he wants to stay. That's for sure. Thomas is in Locust Grove. Thomas, welcome to the program.
Hey, Mark, how's it going, buddy?
Excellent. What's cooking, brother?
I don't know. I almost forgot I've been on hold so long, but here you go. Here's the scenario. Biden's going to be in there for about 3 or 4 months, and health reasons, he's going to have to resign. And if he doesn't, Pelosi's probably going to impeach him for all the stuff that Hunter did.
That's the second part. I don't see that happening. Because I don't think Nancy Pelosi cares. I mean, if Vice President Biden gets elected president, Nancy Pelosi doesn't care about Hunter at all. I think that
then she'll put Kamala in as president, and then Bernie will be selected to be the vice president.
Oh, geez. Well,
then you got a trifecta there.
That's a dark. I don't know. I'm not going down that dark a road as far as a conspiracy theory. I think the earliest Vice President Biden, if he gets elected president, the earliest he'd step down would be 2 years in. I think he'd carry the Democrats into the midterms because they're going to need some help because there was no blue wave in the Senate and the House this time. And if things go the way they did now, there's going to be a huge flip in the midterm. So I think Vice President Biden, if he's elected president, will stick around to the midterms and try to shore that up. Chris is in Beaufort. Chris, welcome to the Mark Arum Show.
Hey, Mark, how are you?
What up, brother?
Good. Hey, there was a call earlier where a gentleman said that Gerald Ford ascended to the presidency from being Speaker of the House.
Yeah, I didn't want to correct him. I didn't want to correct him.
Okay, all right.
You can. You can correct him.
He was never a Speaker of the
Correct.
House. He
Yeah.
was a congressman from Michigan and a good one, and chosen to replace Spiro Agnew as vice president.
As vice
when
president.
Agnew had
Exactly.
resigned.
Yeah.
So then when Ford did ascend to the presidency, he did choose Rockefeller as his vice president. Of course, they only served for 2.5 years.
A little bit, yeah, and they got whacked, and they got whacked in the general. Speaking of vice presidents, have we heard from Vice President Pence in person? Like just tweets, right?
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, he sent out a tweet or two, but we haven't seen him or done. I wonder what's going on behind the scenes, right? Like because from all the sources, it's chaos in the White House right now, right? I mean, the main inner circle is keeping President Trump wanting to fight these battles. But apparently, allegedly, there's a lot of folks in the West Wing that are like backing off, like I'm getting the hell out of here before this house burns down, kind
before
of thing.
it blows up.
So I wonder where Vice President Pence fits in all that. Chuck is screening from home, so everything's a little...
Yeah, I don't think so.
It says it's been on hold for 4 minutes and 44 seconds, though. Yeah. You have Veronica? Oh, I was waiting for her to call in. Veronica, how are you?
You knucklehead. You didn't know.
I thought you were calling the hotline. I am so sorry. I was texting you. I was like, hey, you calling in? What? Anyway, all right, yeah, we're going to push the break now, Longoria, because we have Veronica Waters on. Veronica been covering what might be the second runoff in the Senate here in Georgia, the Ossoff-Purdue matchup. What did you hear today? You were with the Ossoff camp?
Yeah, so John Ossoff had a media availability this morning, and some supporters were there rallying with him, and he sounded bold and optimistic and really encouraged and thinking that what we're seeing here as the votes for Joe Biden keep ticking up is that Georgians are ready for a change. He spent some time actually attacking David Perdue on his record, talking about him voting against the Affordable Care Act and its pre-existing condition protections, talked about how Perdue has never held a town hall in 6 years as our senator, he says. And, then Perdue hitting back today with the same phrases that he has continually attacked John Ossoff on, calling him this radical socialist and throwing out the name Chuck Schumer and saying that this is just handing power to Chuck Schumer if you send John Ossoff to the Senate. They say this afternoon, Ossoff is good at two things. One of them is spending liberal out-of-state money and losing in runoffs. And so they're saying that they're going to show him again how it's done. Ossoff, though, feeling like he's got the momentum. And you might want to take a look at the 6th district congressional race where Lucy McBath once again defeated Karen Handel.
Yeah.
Remember that John Ossoff lost to Karen Handel in a special election a few years ago, but Handel has suffered 2 defeats now at the hands of Lucy McBath's campaign. And that, he says, is a sign that people are ready for something. He says Georgia's gotten younger and more diverse, and they want some leadership.
Real quick, Veronica, let me jump in for a second. Currently, Ossoff is trailing Purdue by 94.
It's about 95,500.
That's a big chunk of votes to make up if there's a runoff. What's the plan?
Yes, it is a big chunk of votes. And I think that they want to focus on the energizing of the voter turnout and all of these new voters. But, theoretically, that has been a problem for Democrats in runoffs, is making sure you can actually match the turnout that you got in the general. When a presidential election is on the ballot, everybody's coming out. Are you going to get that same or even a relatively comparable turnout in January? So for them, it is a matter of turnout. It could, though, for the Purdue camp, I think they're thinking this might be simple math. If you think about the libertarian voters who are out there, who came out for Shane Hazel, if all of them go to Purdue, that's another 100,000 votes. You got to do the math on what percentage of November voters come out in January, but that could be the ticket to the Purdue campaign.
Final question. I'm sorry, Veronica. Go ahead.
Let me just say that Purdue's camp is also noting that John is trailing Joe. They're saying Ossoff is behind Biden votes. So they think maybe voters might not want Trump, but they're comfortable with the incumbent, even though that incumbent has a 95% with Trump voting record.
Yeah, we're seeing that in a lot of races around the country where some of the Senate candidates or Congress candidates are outperforming the president. Real quick, Veronica, what's for dinner tonight?
I'm going to have, that is a great question. I made a great tortellini dish. I think I'm going to have leftover pasta.
You're a great tortellini dish. Have a great weekend, Verwat.
You too. Love you, brother.
All right, we'll come right back. Final segment of Atlanta's Evening News on 95.5 WSB. Hey, thanks, little guy. Kathy joins us on the Mark Arum Show. Hey, Kathy, what do you have?
Hi, Mark.
Hello, darling.
You blew me away with a comment earlier. I was just leaving work, and you said something about the possibility of Pelosi becoming president.
Yes. So, and I was actually right.
What was that?
So, if the election isn't finalized by Inauguration Day, it appears that Nancy Pelosi will be acting president until the election gets verified and validated.
We don't need another scare.
I know. I'm just listen. That probably won't happen, but just know that I was the first to tell you that is a possibility. President Pelosi. LJ's up on the Mark Arum Show. Hey, LJ, real quick, buddy. You got like 20 seconds. Oh, LJ has 0 seconds. All right. Sorry, LJ.
And now, are you guys ready for the Mark Arum Star of the Show?
So many stars of the show. Let's give them to Greg Bluestein for not sleeping, Bill Crane for not sleeping, Veronica Waters for making a tortellini dish, and that's it. Chuck does not get one. But he did a good job. He did a good job today for working from home.
Probably did better screening there than here.
Yeah, thanks, Loti. We'll continue the conversation on Twitter and Instagram at Mark Arum. Back in for Erickson on Monday at 4 p.m. Word on the Street is next.
Guests of the Mark Arum Show stay at the All Suite Omni Hotel, located in the heart of Chicago's Magnificent Mile.